All right, guys, we are back with part 2 of this piece right here that we painted up, and I am going to not talk too much in here, but let's roll into footage and get to work.
And in this particular case, I had just cut a slit in the top where that crease of that lash is, and I'm going to go with about a maybe 40% gray, and then of course draw a couple of lines in there using the same technique I used earlier as far as using that for a transfer. And once I get that line marked in, used about a 40% gray, I want to take that same 40% gray and I'm going to create some subtle tones underneath. And that is darker than my lighter mix. And yes, that will blue shift some, but since we're working with all these grays, the blue shift will become almost non-existent. So I'm putting little pores and dots like that in there that'll exist under the skin. On the wrinkles on the lower side, I didn't mark anything out, but if you see there, you'll catch on the lower side, I'm actually taking a piece of paper and I'm spraying off the edge of that torn piece of paper to create little micro cracks off of that, and it gives a rough textured finish. I'm going to combine that with some of the freehand techniques, and I'll pop a card up on the right hand side of your screen for the 4 freehand techniques I use to do skin all the time. So I'm combining those together. I will do some of that freehand work and getting my skin. You could simply not freehand any of it and just create wrinkles and textures and then go in and create your lines. For the sake of expediency, I went ahead and used my freehand techniques. To be honest, I wouldn't even use the torn paper in most cases, but I wanted to show that that's a possible option. What you see me doing right now is I'm coming in with my lightest skin tone. We matched up the lightest color of skin tone that we see, not the specular highlights, but the lightest grays, not counting the highlights, and we're just going to spray over everything. And I'm not going to give two wits about that slight blue shift because we're going to come in with a darker color over the top. Now to achieve any kind of realism, even close to a realism, we're going to match that color up there. I put the original cut pieces down over the top of my eye to protect it. And then notice how that's not just a crisp edge. It's a sharp edge blending out into a gradient, so I can come right off the edge of my little shield I've made in there and then let that blend out so it's a gentle blend. Knowing the difference between a crisp edge and a blending edge is important. And then I want to create some of them wrinkles and lines as I come through here. I'm going to use a little X-shaped pattern and then a little bit of figure 8 work right there to create some of that texture in the wrinkle as I was talking about, which will be in that other video that I was talking about.
Also, guys, I wanted to point out that somebody pointed out to me how bad the audio was in part 2, and when I went back and looked at it and realized how bad it was, I realized that I needed to address that issue. So, you guys know, I am always trying to address the issues. I have ordered a wireless microphone that is supposed to be noise canceling, so it might help with some of the background sounds. Just so you guys know, I am always listening. And you can see right there, I put this door in just yesterday, and I got drywall tore out, and of course that's that sad little space that I'll be moving into it, as you can see what kind of shape we're in right now. So we got bare studs going on and being insulating and stuff like that. So yeah, I got a long way to go before I'm ready to get in here and move out of my studio, but we got a million things going on.
For the skin up here on the right hand side, all I'm doing is making little bitty circles. They're not figure 8s or any other particular texture, little bitty circles, and we're going to be coming in with a darker color on top of that. So those are going to be very rough and simulated, and you can also, on top of doing those little circles, come back and erase out those sections so you can pay attention to how they're exactly, or you can just roughly simulate the skin texture, which is what I did here. If you go back and look at your reference photo, you'll notice there are lots of little dotted specular highlights that exist off of those wrinkles over the top, as we're showing right here, and that is what I'm simulating there and doing that with an eraser. Notice on that edge how there is a light section between the eye and where the lid rolls over because we have a slight downward look on it. Make sure you always keep that in mind. So it's much lighter on the inside than the outside skin tone. So what you're seeing is the inside lip of that eyelid on the bottom eyelid. And then I'm just continuing with some of my freehands. You see that I'm working in that figure 8 texture motion right there. And what we're doing is we're working with a shade that's just barely one shade darker than the original shade we put in. And then we're going to come back and pull those little specular highlights out. not all of them are going to be necessarily that bright. So we're not always going back to pure white. As a matter of fact, I'm working on poster boards, so getting back to pure white's almost near impossible in this particular case. I can, but it can be extraordinarily difficult. But you don't necessarily have to get to a pure white for it to have a good look. That is when you can start looking into a term called relative contrast. So sometimes if you can't get your base white, which poster board is not pure white anyway, if you can't get your base white, sometimes you can make your darks just a little bit darker than what they really exist in the reference, and that will bring the relative contrast in proportion. I'm going to reinforce a few of those cracks with the next darker shade, which is probably about a 60% value right there. And I'm just doing those freehand and just adding some of that crack-like texture to the skin. And, you know, there's not a lot to say about how that goes. And then come back, of course, with the eraser. Because anywhere you have a shadow, you will always have a highlight. And that's what those textures in the skins are, little shadows within those little cracks. And again, just like always before, working from dark to light. Now I'm coming back and reinforcing the blend over that crease that sits over the eyelid, and I'm coming in with almost my darkest color. And I don't remember what percentage that is, but you know, that's where we're at. And filling that in, and notice how that kind of ugly blue shift disappears because we're coming back over the top of it with the darks. You still have some blue shift going on there, but it's mostly disappeared. And again, paying attention to how that blends out. You've got a tight line in the middle, but it gradients away as that rolled edge, but it also is kind of rough. So I'm putting those rough figures in it. I'm not exactly accurate to the reference now. I will also come back in a few spots where there are some darker freckles, and we will adjust those. And then, of course, I'm putting the very, very darkest parts inside the tear duct in the eye right there and blending some little shadowing underneath the upper eyelid, because you would always have a little bit of a shadow going on in there if light was coming from above. So because we're working in black and white, I can get away with using a paint pen in this particular case, and showing you guys that's one option. Never let anybody tell you that anything is cheating. It doesn't matter as long as it looks good in the end. You cannot always do that when you're dealing with color, because usually those eyelashes will need to be a brownish tone or maybe a reddish violet tone or something like that. But this is another option. I'll leave you guys a link for the Posca paint pens that I use down below, and makes really, really quick work of those lower super crisp and fine lashes. And then we're going to move into the lashes on the left hand side. And in this section, you're going to see me freehand in those eyelashes there. And then I'm going in pretty wide, because notice how much thicker and flusher those eyelashes are. It's important to understand that it comes from the edge of the eyelid, and then it kind of rolls down and then back out. But notice I'm going over some of these 3 or 4 times, because you have that clumped makeup look. And then some of the edges are a little bit fuzzy, a little bit blurred from an out of focus, but some of them are just simply clumped makeup. Because of the way in which you visualize that, it's important to realize that first the eyelashes change kind of how they come more out instead of off to the side as you get to the middle, so they curve a little bit differently. And when you get over, when you're looking dead on an eye like that, a lot of times those eyelashes just kind of are blurry, and it's just simply you're adding dots in this middle section and then just a few small lines, paying very close attention to the fact that some of those, because of the look there, as you see, they're just blurry, so you're not trying to put a crisp line in, you're just putting a light line in to create a blurry and out of focused effect. I have difficulty doing fine lines like that for eyelashes and stuff. What you can do is cut a slit in a piece of paper and curve in the location how you need those eyelashes to be. Hold it, spray through it, and you will get a perfectly crisp fine line. Of course, those reflected or the shadows that come from the eyelashes above, if you're not confident, once again, use one of the techniques I showed you. Look over your entire painting, but we do have a couple more things to do yet. So here, I need that shadow. So I'm just going to blend it in with the dark I have, and just be real careful, because I have a transparent mix that can go too dark really easily. And lastly, you usually have some little tiny white hairs right there, or eyelashes, and we will just go and pull them out with a scalpel and or an X-Acto knife in the States.
All right, guys, that's a wrap. Like I mentioned before, I am extraordinarily busy. I got this pet portrait sitting right here. I got 7 more of these things to do. Plus, I'm rebuilding stuff and reconstructing stuff in the studio, hopefully to make things better for you guys, because this is going to become the Airspace lounge and part studio, and that's going to be my spray area. But we're going to do a video about that, and if you guys want to know how to set that up. But it's going to be a couple weeks because I got a lot of stuff going on. So anyway, I appreciate y'all stopping by. Once again, I'm Bill Kennedy with the Airspace, formerly of W. Leon Artistry. And hope you got something out of the video. If you do, remember, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Appreciate y'all. Y'all have a good one. Bye.